We are now on the record. The time is 9:59 a.m. on January 28, 2026. Audio and video recording will continue to take place until all parties agree off the record. Please note that microphones are sensitive and may pick up whispering in private conversations. This is the video recorded deposition of Justin Fox in a matter of the Authors Guild et al. Plaintiffs versus National Endowment for the Humanities et al. Defendants. This deposition is being held at Schindler, Cohen & Hockman, LLP, New York, New York. My name is Christian Medona. I'm a legal video specialist. Certified stenographer Patricia Bedona on behalf of Lexitas. Counsel state their opinions for the record, and all those appearing remotely will be noted for the record, and the certified stenographer will swear in a witness.
Yinka Aniemi from Fairmark Partners on behalf of the Authors Guild Plaintiffs et al.
I want to know the Jacobson Lawyers Group on behalf of the ACLS plaintiffs.
Rachel Dowd from the U.S. Attorney's Office on behalf of the defendants.
Would you raise your hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Your microphone.
You want to put it on me?
Yeah, just put it right there. That's good.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Good morning, Justin.
Morning.
How are you doing?
Good.
Have you ever testified under oath before?
No.
Do you understand the oath you just took has the same force and effect of an oath taken in a court of law?
Yes.
Great. And you understand it requires you to tell the truth during this deposition?
Yes.
You understand that not telling the truth during this deposition could expose you to criminal perjury charges?
Yes.
Great. So during this deposition, it's important that if you don't understand a question I'm asking, to tell me that. Otherwise, I'll assume you understood it when you answer it. Mm-hmm. Understood?
Yeah.
Great. Is there anything today keeping you from testifying accurately or thinking clearly?
No.
No alcohol? No?
No.
Okay. And also verbal responses would be great, just so the stenographer can record them.
Yep.
Great. Any other mind-altering substances?
No.
Okay. What's your full legal name?
John.
Are you represented by any counsel today?
Not outside counsel, no.
Not outside counsel?
Yeah, DOJ with Rachel.
Okay. Is it your understanding that Ms. Dowd represents you?
I'm not sure.
Okay. What's your understanding of your relationship with Ms. Dowd?
She's representing DOJ and assisting me with the deposition today.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you say assisting you, I'll ask some questions about that. Have you met with Ms. Dowd before
Yes.
today? Okay. When was that?
Yesterday?
Okay. Any time besides that?
Not in person, but a few phone calls.
Okay. I'll ask about the phone calls in a second, but yesterday you said you met with her? Mm-hmm. Okay. And of course, she might speak up and mention that there's some privilege concerns, but so I'd advise you to obviously listen to her representations. But how long did you two meet yesterday?
4 hours.
Okay. And where was that?
Chambers Street, 86 Chambers Street, at their offices.
Okay. Was anyone else in that meeting?
For the entirety, no. I met Mary Ellen and one other lady.
Okay. Do you remember the other one's name?
I don't.
Okay. And you said that was around 4 hours? Great. Did you review any documents during that meeting? Mm-hmm. Okay. Did those documents help to refresh your recollection?
They helped.
They helped. Okay. What kinds of documents did you review?
Emails, communication mostly.
Okay. Sorry, could you give me some more color there? Emails?
Yeah,
About what?
emails about NEH,
Okay.
my relationship with Mike, sort of timeline procedurally our interaction with Mike and NEH, and by our I mean Nate and myself.
Okay. So documents kind of showing communications between you, Nate Kavanaugh, Mike McDonald, and others
Yes.
during your time at NEH?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see any spreadsheets yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. Could you describe generally what those spreadsheets were?
Coordinating feedback on grants, primarily, if not exclusively.
Okay. And those were NEH grants? Mm-hmm. Okay. Have you talked to anyone besides Rachel, Mary Ellen, and the other attorney about this deposition?
No?
Okay. And I want to make a distinction. I asked how you prepared with them. Now I'm asking if you've talked about it generally with anyone.
I told my mom this morning, and I know Nate got deposed or was here last Friday. That's the extent of that.
How do you know Nate was here last Friday?
We worked together, and he was held up here for the day.
How do you know he was here?
I mean, we worked together, so he said he got deposed. We're in the same case.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not every time someone doesn't show up to work, it means they're being deposed.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Objection.
how did he tell you that he was being deposed?
I don't remember, honestly.
Did he tell you in person?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you text about it?
No.
Did you communicate about it via any mediums, Signal, WhatsApp, Telegram?
No, we work together, so we're in person every day.
Okay. Do you remember what he said in person to you?
No, something close to I'm getting deposed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, these are pro forma questions. So,
What do you mean by pro forma questions?
I just mean that these are questions that are usually asked in a deposition. So,
Objection.
So I'm just saying I'm not trying to be invasive. I'm just asking you
Okay.
about that. Do you remember generally when that was?
No.
Okay. Have you talked to him since Friday?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you talk to him about his deposition on Friday?
No.
Okay. Do you have any engagement letter or any formal agreement with Ms. Dowd or any other attorneys that you've met with?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. So I assume you're aware that you helped to gather documents in relation to this case. Is that right?
Objection.
You can answer.
I don't know, honestly.
Did you, I guess, let me ask the question straightforward.
Yeah.
Did you gather any documents for this case?
Objection.
You can still answer the
answer.
question.
Personally,
Yes.
so did I gather documents for the binder that you guys have and we're going to be walking through? That's the question.
I'm asking whether you've engaged in any searches and the gathering of documents for production in this lawsuit.
No. I don't have my laptop, and all of my equipment is turned in. I'm no longer an employee in the government, so I don't have access to anything.
Okay. So dating back to the commencement of this lawsuit, you never engaged in the search for documents related to this case?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Did you search anything on your personal phone, for instance, in relation to this case?
I didn't need to.
Did you search anything on your laptop or laptops in relation to this case?
I don't have access to my laptops anymore.
Okay. And when you say your laptops, you mean, what do you mean?
NEH and GSA laptops.
Do you have a personal laptop? would that laptop have ever stored documents related to your time at NEH?
No.
Okay. So you turned over, or excuse me, you gave back your work phone after leaving NEH? Approximately when was, yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
That's it, yes. I
Okay.
just wanted to verbally respond because you
Sure.
said.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And you turned over your work laptop as well upon leaving?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever use your personal phone to do any work or talk about any of your work related to NEH?
Related to NEH work? No.
What about related to any of your work with any DOGE teams or GSA?
Coordinating locations and meeting in person? Yes.
Okay. But you never searched that phone for communications related to this case?
There was nothing on my personal. I had experience previously in finance. Everything needed to be kept on a separate phone. All of the tangible work-related communications were done over my GSA.
Okay. So you didn't turn over any documents, any communications in relation to this case?
There was nothing on there. no.
Okay. Did anyone ask you to do that?
I don't remember.
Objection.
Sorry?
I don't remember.
You don't remember if anyone asked you to turn over documents and communications?
Objection.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Did Ms. Dowd ask you to turn over any communications or documents in relation to this case?
I remember her asking if I had documents to turn over, of which I have nothing.
Okay. And you told her no?
I have nothing.
Okay. Did you search when she asked you that question?
I don't have anything on my personal because I never use my personal for.
Okay. I understand. I forget his name. Jacob, are you still there?
Yes.
Great. If you could pull up tab 1A for presentation.
Is this exhibit 1 or exhibit 1?
It's exhibit 1. It's called tab 1A in the folder. And we'll call this Fox exhibit 1. The text is a little small. Can you see that? I think Jacob could probably figure it out.
It's on this screen.
Yeah, I see it up
It's
there.
bigger on this screen, so on this screen it's mirrored.
It's okay. I think if he just zooms in, we'll be okay. Can you guys see it? Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay. I think we could probably do a few more clicks on the plus, and then we'll be perfect.
Yeah, let me get this sidebar out of
Nice. There we go. I think that's okay. We can see, man. We appreciate it. All right. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you read the text? That's what's important.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Have you seen this document before? I can scroll through if you'd like to see more of it. There are several pages.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Honestly.
Jacob, could you like toggle downwards a little bit and just kind of show some more pages of the document for the witness? You can keep going faster than that. There are a lot of pages. Does this look familiar?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So you can, would you say that you've seen this document before? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Who showed you this document?
Rachel had sent it to me.
Okay. Okay, you can stop there, Jacob. Thank you. Okay. So if you could go up, Jacob, just to maybe scroll up a little bit.
What is Exhibit A? It said, if you scroll down, it says, see attached Exhibit A. Is that?
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
Yeah, you can stop there, Jacob. Thanks. That's good. Okay. So yeah, if you were to scroll down a little bit more, Jacob, we're going to go to page 3 at the bottom. Yeah. Or actually, keep going. I think maybe page 4. Right. Okay. So you can stop there. Instructions. Great. So you see this instruction section. Have you seen this before?
Yes.
Okay. And if you could keep scrolling down, Jacob, to the part, yeah, just scroll down and I'll tell you when to stop. Okay, relevant time period right here. All right, so this says relevant time period, unless otherwise noted in the body of a request, the relevant time period for these requests is November 1, 2024 through the present. These requests seek all responsive documents created or generated during the relevant time period, as well as responsive documents created or generated outside the relevant time period, but which contain information concerning the relevant time period. So when Ms. Dowd asked you to search for documents and communications related to your time at NEH, did you search documents and communications dating back to November 1, 2024?
Objection.
I didn't have any government laptop or computer, and there was nothing on my personal.
Okay. How do you know there was nothing on your personal? Did you look?
I never used it.
Okay. You noted earlier that you spoke with some of your DOGE and GSA colleagues via your personal phone. Did you search those communications for relevant information?
There's nothing on my personal related to NEH communication. I had no need to search my personal.
Okay. How do you know there was nothing on your personal related to NEH?
I never used it for NEH purposes.
Okay. But you used it for DOGE purposes?
For coordinating where people were, meeting in person, yes.
Okay. So we're going to run through the request for production really quickly. So can you see that there's the first bullet there? It says all documents and communications relating to your deployment to NEH and any assignments or instructions given to you relating to your work at NEH. Do you see that? Okay. Is it your testimony that you don't have any documents in your possession that are responsive to subject number 1?
Yes.
Okay. You can scroll down, Jacob. To just, yeah, so 2 is at the top. Thanks. Okay. This is asking for documents related to the mass terminations with respect to NEH. None of those communications on your phone or laptop?
Objection.
Could you repeat the question?
I can change the question. Did you do anything to search for anything related to these subjects? Under number 2 in particular?
I had no need
Okay.
to.
Okay. Let's go down to number 3, Jacob. So number 3 and 4, those are both with respect to NEH. Did you do anything to search for those documents?
Number 3.
And number 4.
Again, there was no work I was doing with NEH on
Okay.
my personal.
That's okay. Yeah. Number 6 is about DOGE. Did you do anything to search for any documents related to request number 6?
The mass termination. I presume this was NEH. Is that right? It says
I think that's correct. Yes.
execution of mass termination.
Yep.
All of that communication was done via my GSA, laptop,
Okay.
phone.
Okay, thanks. If you could slowly scroll down, Jacob, just to the end. I think the last one is number 10, request number 10. Okay. And is it fair to say, looking at this, and given that NEH is listed in 8, 9, and 10, that your response to those would be the same as the prior responses with respect to your communications and searching for them?
Objection.
Could I clarify when Rachel says objection?
You still answer unless, yeah, you generally still answer.
Okay.
So you can, that's for the record, so
Yeah.
just
Okay.
allow a little bit of time for me to object, but then you just
Okay.
answer.
Could you repeat the question?
Did you do anything to search for documents or communications responsive to requests number 8, 9, and 10?
Okay, one more time. I'm sorry, I've just read through those bullets. Could you repeat the question?
Did you undergo any efforts to identify, gather, or produce documents that would have been responsive to requests 8, 9, and 10?
My personal phone was used for no NEH communication work.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about the extent of your conversations with DOGE people on your personal phone. Who would you have been communicating with on your personal phone at DOGE or GSA?
Nate, the team members on my team, Ethan Chautran, Justin Eminetti, a few others.
Michael McDonald.
No,
Did you ever call him from your personal phone?
no,
Never texted him from your personal phone?
no.
Okay. Do you remember when you were given a government phone, a work phone?
My first day.
Okay. Before your first day, were you in touch with anyone from DOGE or the government?
Yeah,
Okay. How did you communicate with them before you got your government phone?
Signal.
Anything else?
No,
Okay. And who was it that you were communicating with before you were issued a government phone?
Anthony Armstrong, Josh Grunbaum, Nate Kavanaugh,
Okay. Anyone else?
Ethan Chautran.
Who were the first two people?
Anthony Armstrong,
Who's that?
one of the leadership within DOGE
Okay.
that I initially communicated with.
Okay. And who's the second name?
Josh Grunbaum,
Okay. Who's that?
head of Federal Acquisition Services for GSA.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. And how you said you were communicating with them via Signal?
Signal.
Okay. And nothing else besides Signal? Great. Was that a group chat or were they individual communications with each one of them?
Some group chat, some individual.
Okay. And then once you were hired by the government, did you migrate all of those communications to your government phone?
Objection.
With those individuals, no.
Okay. So you were still communicating with Nate Kavanaugh, Ethan Chautran, and the other two on your personal phone after being hired. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And did you do anything to search those communications in response to any of those requests that we've gone through from your subpoena?
They are all deleted automatically. That's the default setting in Signal.
Okay. And you don't think that you ever spoke to them on any service beyond Signal, including Nate, for instance?
No.
Okay. The Signal platform, could you tell me a little bit about it? You mentioned auto-delete. Can you explain what you mean?
Objection.
It's a messaging and calling platform that everybody was using that I downloaded to communicate with Nate, Josh, Anthony.
Okay. Did you download it specifically to communicate with those people? How did they tell you to download Signal?
Download Signal and call me there.
Okay. But did they tell you that in person?
Anthony Armstrong, he was a mentor of mine,
Okay.
and he said, download Signal. I want to talk to you about potentially joining. So all of our communications were on Signal
Okay. How did Mr. Armstrong tell you that
in person.
in person? Okay. were you sharing text messages with Mr. Armstrong before you downloaded Signal?
Yes.
Okay. Ever about DOGE?
No.
Did you search those texts to come to the understanding that you never texted him about DOGE?
I remember him being very focused on switching to Signal to talk about anything.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. So stepping back from all these communications, and we could pull down Exhibit 1. Thank you, Jacob. Did you bring any documents with you today to the deposition?
No.
Okay. When did you first become aware of this lawsuit?
At some point in government. I don't remember when exactly.
Okay. Do you remember how you became aware of it?
I think a letter came addressed to me and Nate.
Okay.
I don't remember when, but
Yeah.
it was printed out in physical form.
Okay, great. And was that sent to, you said while you were in government, I think. You were still working for the government when you received that?
Which one?
Sorry, when you received the, when you learned, I presume through the complaint, that there was a lawsuit that had your name on it.
Objection.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Have you read the complaint?
Yes.
Okay. Do you understand the nature of the allegations in the complaint?
I think so.
Okay. What's your understanding of the allegations?
I honestly could not articulate. It's there are a few, so you'd have to be specific about which one.
Yeah. So let's start with the Authors Guild complaint.
Okay.
Are you aware of that complaint?
I'm aware of it, yeah.
Okay. Do you understand the nature of the allegations in it?
Objection.
Not not to the level that you might, but yes, for the most part.
Okay. Could you describe your understanding of those allegations?
And I'm just going to caution that if your understanding is informed by things that attorneys told you, to be
Yeah.
aware of that and to not reveal privileged communications.
Okay.
But otherwise, you can answer.
Could you repeat the question?
Do you mind reading back the question for the witness?
Question, could you describe your understanding of those allegations?
Grants were terminated by Michael. At the same time, we were working with him. And Authors Guild disagrees with the method and reason these grants were terminated. And
Okay.
they want to learn more
Sure.
about the process, and that's my understanding.
Okay, thank you. Is that your understanding of the nature of the ACLS complaint as well?
That would be my understanding.
Okay, thanks. Are you currently employed?
Yes.
Who's your employer?
A company that Nate and I started.
What's it called?
Special.
Special? Since when have you been at Special?
October 1st.
2025?
2025.
Okay. And you said you and Nate started it, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So are you like a co-founder of the company?
Yes.
What's your role within the company?
Co-founder.
What do you do as the co-founder?
Anything that needs to be done.
Okay.
Yeah. It's hard to.
It's okay. I'll ask more pointed questions. What's the nature of the service that Special provides?
We are buying businesses in senior care, adopting technology to pay the nurses and caregivers more so that the aging population has enough nurses to meet the demand.
Okay. And sorry, when did you say that you started there? October 2025? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And where were you employed prior to that?
GSA.
GSA. When did you start at GSA?
March 3rd, I believe.
That's 2025?
2025.
And how long did you stay at GSA? Sorry, strike that. A better question. Just when did you leave GSA?
Mid-September.
Okay. 2025.
Yes.
So give or take 6 months at GSA.
Yes.
Okay. What was your job title, official title at GSA?
Senior advisor to Stephen Ehikian.
To who?
Stephen Ehikian, head of GSA at the time.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, we'll come back to that. And before March 3rd, 2025, where were you employed?
Financial firm in Los Angeles.
Okay. Was that Nexus Capital?
That's right.
Okay. That's a private equity firm.
Yes.
Okay. And that was based in Los Angeles?
Yes.
What was your title there?
Associate.
Okay. And when did you leave Nexus?
The end of September. The Friday before I started at GSA.
Okay, so left on Friday, joined GSA Monday, is that fair
Yes.
to say? Okay. Honestly, I'm not too familiar with how private equity works. Are there groups, specialties within private equity? Were you doing anything in particular?
Sometimes there are groups. I was generalist, meaning
Okay.
no specific
Okay.
group.
And roughly what was your income at Nexus Capital?
I don't remember.
Good ballpark.
$130,000.
Okay. Is that pre-bonus?
Pre-bonus.
Okay. And then with the bonus, generally, what would be added to that?
Anywhere from 0 to 100.
Okay. And before then, you were an investment banking analyst at Jefferies. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. When did you start at Nexus? Do you remember that?
— 2023.
Okay. And before that, you were at Jefferies?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm skipping back to GSA really quickly. Do you remember your salary at GSA?
$150.
Okay. So you were making more in base rate for GSA than you were for your private equity firm?
I believe so.
Okay. Great, thank you. You attended University of Virginia, right?
Yes.
Okay. When did you graduate from there?
2020.
2020. What was your major?
Commerce.
Do you have any minors while you were at UVA?
German.
German, okay. Commerce major, German minor. Great. And graduated in 2020. Did you belong to any clubs at UVA?
Yeah.
Which ones?
An investment club. A community service club called Lions Club. TEDx Club. TEDx, like TED Talks. Yeah, that was it.
Great. Any clubs or organizations outside of UVA that you were a part of while you were studying there?
No.
Okay. Any internships while you were there? Was one with Jeffries?
No.
Okay. Can you briefly tell us where you interned while you were at UVA?
In Arlington, doing wealth management at Morgan Stanley, and then in Atlanta at VRA Partners,
Okay.
and then full-time started at Jeffries.
Okay, great. Do you have any graduate degrees?
No.
Okay. And no PhDs, doctorates, anything like that?
No.
Okay. Before joining the government in, I think, March of 2025, did you have any experience in government?
No.
Okay. Were you ever part of any political campaigns?
No.
Did you ever engage in any public grant administration before you joined government?
No.
Private grant administration?
No.
Had you ever engaged in anything that required you to review scholarship for scholarly merit before you joined the government?
I can't remember. There may have been a few scholarship grants that we awarded at, for example, TEDx.
Did you ever review any humanities projects for scholarly merit prior to joining the government?
No.
Okay. Did you ever have any relation or involvement with the National Endowment for the Humanities before joining government in March of 2025?
No.
Okay. Were you familiar with the NEH before you joined the government?
No.
Were you familiar with the Administrative Procedures Act before you joined the government?
No.
Okay. So let's switch gears to the process of you joining the government. You noted that you had a conversation with someone that you knew. Could you remind me of that name?
Anthony Armstrong.
Anthony Armstrong. And you testified that Anthony Armstrong told you to download Signal. Is that right?
Yes.
And that was to discuss an opportunity in joining the government. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Prior to that, had you had any conversations with anyone about joining the government?
No.
Okay. How did you know Anthony Armstrong?
He's the father of one of my friends.
Okay.
We worked in the same field. He was a mentor to me.
Okay. What field is that?
Investment banking?
Okay. Did you work with him, actually?
No.
Okay. Where did he work?
Morgan Stanley?
Okay. And so he told you to download Signal. And why did he tell you to download Signal? Or
Objection.
strike that, sorry. Do you have an understanding of why he asked you to download Signal?
No.
Okay. But he asked you to download Signal to communicate about government work, right?
Objection.
About an opportunity for me to join the government, yes.
Okay. And can you describe what that opportunity was?
They were recruiting for hardworking individuals to join GSA and find government efficiencies. My background suited well. Move as soon as you can. That was the scope of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Did he tell you anything else in those conversations about the nature of the role?
Just that it was going to be a lot of really hard work, and that was, he honestly was not sure where I would go, but to talk with Josh Gernbaum, see if there's a fit with his team, and that was when I spoke with Josh. But no, otherwise, nature of the work, no.
Okay. Do you have any understanding of how Mr. Armstrong knew Mr. Gernbaum?
No.
Okay. How did he put you in touch with him?
Signal?
Okay. Through like a group chat or something?
Yes.
Okay. How did you feel being reached out to about joining the government while you're at Nexus Capital?
Interested?
Okay. What made you interested in that?
I hated private equity.
Fair enough. Anything else?
An opportunity to work with other hardworking people and address the spending deficit.
Was that something that you were particularly interested in, the spending deficit?
Not until Anthony reached out then I dug into it really.
Okay.
And yes, it seemed like a very pressing issue.
What made you feel like it was a pressing issue? Or strike that. Part of you digging in, while you were digging in, what did you see that made you think that it was a pressing issue?
There's a spending deficit of $2 trillion. Part of that is related to government spending in excess of the income that it's generating. And government spend has done nothing but go up and to the right. And it's the most controllable piece of the equation, in my opinion, of the spending deficit. And the group that was being recruited for this was meant to address that problem. And I felt compelled to help.
Okay. Do you feel that you succeeded, looking back now, in achieving that goal?
In some ways, yes.
Did the deficit go down during your tenure at the government?
In other ways, no. I think having somebody check to see where taxpayer dollars were going, that was an unbiased third-party auditor of common sense approach to spending, has never happened before in the history of the government. And now we've established that it's possible. I do feel it was a success in the sense that people will be more understanding that these aren't just numbers on a page, that they add up into something that's bigger than what they're working on. And I think that in that way it was successful.
Yeah. So we'll review some of the methods that your team used to attempt to reduce the deficit later in the deposition. But for now, let's stick on kind of how you joined GSA and how you got involved with DOGE. So Mr. Armstrong reached out, and this was specifically about the GSA. Is that right?
Objection.
I don't remember.
Okay. Did he mention DOGE at any point during these conversations?
Yes.
What did he say about DOGE?
A group of people being onboarded into agencies to partner with leaders and find efficiencies.
Okay. And how did you understand the relationship between GSA and DOGE while you were in these conversations with Mr. Armstrong?
I didn't give it much thought.
Okay. Understandable. So you were still in Nexus and looking at government, and it all kind of blended together. Is that fair to say?
Objection.
No, I'd known about the distinct parts of government. I knew that GSA was the closest to a business side focused on contracts and government services. Yeah.
Okay. And so after Mr. Armstrong introduced you to Mr. Birnbaum, did you continue communicating with Mr. Armstrong about GSA and DOGE issues?
No, not about GSA. Josh connected me with the White House liaison for GSA that I'm blanking on the name for.
Is that
Ryan Leppert.
Ryan Leppert.
Yes.
Okay. So at this point, Mr. Armstrong was your first point of contact into the government. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then he introduced you to Mr. Birnbaum. Is
Yep.
that right? And Mr. Birnbaum introduced you to Mr. Ryan Leppert. Is that
Yes.
right? Okay. Was there anyone else at the time that you were talking to about government work?
Not that I can remember.
Okay. Did you learn anything from Mr. Birnbaum that Mr. Armstrong hadn't told you?
Yes, about Federal Acquisition Services, but I'm also remembering that Mike, the head of GSA buildings, I also spoke with.
Okay.
And I forget his last name, but I think he's still the head of GSA buildings, but that was another short conversation.
Who's this person?
Mike is the head of buildings at GSA,
Okay.
and forgive me, I don't remember his last
Okay.
name.
How are you communicating with Mike?
Again, another group chat in Signal.
Okay.
After that, Ryan Leppert began my onboarding forms.
Okay. So
And Ryan was over email.
over email?
Yes.
Okay. So that was not over Signal?
Yes.
Did you do anything to search for those communications in preparation for this litigation?
Yes. Although none related into my NEH work.
Okay. So just so I understand, you were looking at your emails and making a call on your own about what related and what didn't relate to the nature of the litigation?
Objection.
Could you repeat it?
I can ask it differently. How are you assessing what was responsive to what was being requested in this litigation?
NEH related directions and sort of what brought me to NEH in the first place and the scope of that as opposed to
Okay.
GSA.
Okay. So, who's Josh?
Josh Gernbaum, GSA's head of Federal Acquisition Services.
Okay.
He's one of the lead guys at GSA, I think, still.
Okay. Did you have any formal conversations and interviews? Strike that, actually. Did you formally interview for your role with GSA?
I don't remember. The answer is I don't remember. There were others in GSA, security and background check individuals. Yeah, I don't remember.
I'm sorry, this was less than a year ago. You don't remember if you had any interviews to start working in government?
Objection.
I don't remember specifically. I couldn't give you exactly one interview.
Okay. You can give me many. Who are the people that you talked to in the run-up to being hired by GSA?
Ryan Leppert,
Okay. Who else?
I don't remember the names.
But you talked to other people.
I don't remember exactly. There were so many conversations going on then that some of them may have been GSA, some of them may have been affiliates of other agencies,
Like DOGE?
for example, like DOGE.
Okay.
But there was many conversations,
Okay.
a lot of onboarding, a lot of background checks.
Okay. So let's just take a step back then. It sounds like what you're describing is kind of chaotic. There were a lot of background checks, lots of interviews. That's what you're describing?
Objection.
You can answer. I mean,
It was chaotic personally. I was leaving my existing job. I may be conflating the conversations like the chaos that was ensuing from moving across the country.
Right.
I don't remember. Is the honest answer.
Okay.
It's been a year and change now.
Right. So, well, not a full year yet.
A year.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, I just need to gather some names. So, Anthony Armstrong, Josh Birnbaum, Ryan Leppert. Mm-hmm. You mentioned earlier that you might have had conversations via Signal with Nate Kavanaugh, for instance. Were you in conversations with him before joining?
Objection.
No.
Before joining GSA on March 3rd.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm sorry if you said this already. Do you remember when Mr. Armstrong actually reached out to you and asked you to move on to Signal?
Some point in January.
In January, okay.
Yeah.
Was this before the inauguration? On January 21st?
Shortly thereafter, if not on Jan 20.
Okay. So he reached out to you on January, well, not reached out, but asked you to move on to Signal on January 20 or thereabouts. You ended up officially joining GSA in March. Talk to me about the time in between. What was going on?
Objection.
I was still working at my existing job. And had a few conversations with the folks that I'd already mentioned, Anthony Armstrong, Josh Birnbaum, Mike Sullivan, I believe is the name of the head of buildings for GSA.
Okay.
All of them were looking for hardworking individuals. I was still working my existing job, so it was just a lot going on.
Okay. And would you have been communicating with all of these individuals, with the exception of Ryan Leppert, via Signal? Exclusively?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any possibility you spoke with any of them off of Signal?
Possibility. I have Anthony's personal number, but we only spoke on Signal.
Okay. Did you meet anyone that might have been a higher up at DOGE in the lead up to being hired by GSA?
Not that I can remember. Not that I can remember. Those guys were leadership.
Right. Okay. So, did you ever, so upon starting at GSA, what did you understand your role was going to be with government?
To help Nate with whatever he was working on.
Okay. And that's Nate Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Okay. Who told you that would be your role with the government?
Anthony Armstrong.
Anyone else?
Not that I can remember.
Okay. Did you meet Steve Davis before you joined the GSA on March 3rd?
No.
Okay. Did you ever, do you know who Steve Davis is?
Yes.
Okay. Did you meet Amy Gleason before
No.
joining GSA?
No.
What about Ethan Chautran?
Yes.
Okay. How did you meet Ethan Chautran?
Over signaled the same as I'd met with Nate.
Okay. So, was there, it sounds like you were meeting a lot of people via Signal at this time.
Objection.
Is that right?
Most of the DOGE affiliates, yeah.
Okay. Tell me who these DOGE affiliates were.
You've just listed them.
Anyone else?
Not that I can remember.
Okay. So
Prior to joining, those were the folks.
Nate Kavanaugh.
Nick Kavanaugh, Ethan Chaltran, Anthony Armstrong, Josh Grunbaum, Mike Sullivan, I believe is his last name, head of GSA Buildings. Am I missing anybody?
You tell me. This is
I don't remember.
your life.
These are the names that I remember being early in the conversations.
Mm-hmm.
After joining, you can imagine it's a mess.
Right.
But those are the folks that were core communications.
Okay.
Can we take a quick break?
Definitely not. Why don't we go off the record for a few minutes?
Times of 11:07 a.m. This includes video one off the record.